Hello, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. I'm a big fan of Kiss Looms. I greatly enjoy mine, and I am cooperating with Kelly at Kiss Looms to make you a playlist of all the basic techniques that you might ever want to know on all of the looms. So welcome and enjoy.
When you knit a cardigan, you have quite a few seams. One of them is the shoulder seam, and here's one way to make it. There are several ways to do it, and if you have one you like better, you can use it. I like this one, and for my seam, you go ahead and bind off each piece on the cardigan. This is the back attached to a front. I have two fronts, of course, because the cardigan fronts are knitted in half. And here you're looking at the front neckline that doesn't have the front band applied yet. That's another video. But we align the bind offs and see that chain stitch going through. That's what we're going to make. It's very important to make sure you get things arranged correctly, and it's so easy to get it wrong. These are the two sides. These are the two shoulders. This is the cardigan back, where my left hand is pointing. It will be the back neckline. I've already got one shoulder completed. And the front neckline of the piece I'm adding on now should be going towards the center of the work. If it's not, that's a clue that you've got something backwards. There's my front curve, though. We're okay. And the right sides of the work should be together. In this case, the knit side is the right side, but that's not always true. Sometimes we use the purl side. I'm starting by knotting a little loop into my working yarn. You can do this with a crochet hook, which I will use because I know that more of you have them. But you probably know by now, I think you would enjoy having a latch hook tool of some kind. This is just a needle that's really supposed to go on a knitting machine, but they're very, very handy. However, to prove that it can be done and that I can do it, I'm going to use the crochet hook. What we're going to do, this is the bind off, is work through the holes that the bind off naturally creates between the stitches, right there. So I'm going to stick my tool between the very last edge of yarn into the first hole on both pieces and pull through that loop that I knotted. There we go. Now I'm going to repeat that, pushing through a pair of holes all the way across, and at the same time use the chain stitch, creating a new loop by pulling the yarn that I pick up over here through the pair of stitches through the loop that's on the hook. If you already crochet, you'll know this as slip stitch. It's not necessary that you know how to crochet to learn to do this. It's not very difficult. Through one layer, through the other layer, pick up the yarn, pull through. Be aware of your tension in your hands and in your yarn. The ideal chain stitch tension does not pull in or distort in any way, but neither does it stretch a great deal. We want this to be pretty flat and pretty firm, but not pulled in. And while I continue to work and you continue to watch, I'll tell you why I prefer this over some other methods of joining the shoulders. A lot of people like to work into the open stitches, seaming and joining the two pieces at the same time. And there's not a thing wrong with that. But if you bind off nicely in a way that is firm but doesn't distort the fabric, and you seam in this manner, in my opinion, the seam provides some security against the shoulder seam stretching and the sweater gradually coming to droop, which if it gets a lot of wear can happen. So I like the effect. And as I go on, I often turn it and check to make sure that I agree with myself that the tension I'm creating is going to create an attractive seam. So far it feels good. It's not sloppy, but it does open up and lay down. So let's continue on. And as I work, I get a chance always to make sure that my two wrong sides are out, my two right sides are together, touching one another. The front and back, that is, the right side of the front and back are touching one another so that my seam will be hidden on the inside of the shoulder. You can't really see through. You could almost just poke and hope. And I did, in fact, get to the right place. But I find it best to go a little bit slowly. Aim through one layer, aim through the other layer, pull back through both. It doesn't take that long anyway. Now, this is not a method that I use for the side seams at all. I will show you what I do use on other videos. We're getting to the last stitch, so we've got a yarn tail here. We'll go ahead and stitch through. Now, before I trim everything and knot it, I do want to double check one more time. Make sure that I'll be pleased with it. One nice thing is if I'm not, I could just pull it out without any fuss because chain stitch does that. If I let loose on this and gave it a tug, I will give it a tug just for a couple stitches. See it go? So now I have to find my loop. There it is. Make those last two stitches again. And now I'm ready to tie it off. Snipping. Pulling that yarn tail all the way through. Giving one final lengthwise tug to the seam to make sure it's not too tight. Now, a lot of people oppose making any knots in their knit finishing. I am not one of those people because I've made a lot of money over the years repairing things that were not knotted. That was good, but that has convinced me that I do need to knot upon occasion. So I tied the yarn tail that was part of the bind off to the yarn tail I just used for the seam. And now I'm working my trusty latch tool through them, through some of the shoulder stitchers, grabbing both of those tails and pulling them through. And now when I trim them off, they'll be neatly buried. I can trim them closer if I want later. I don't find that knot to be offensive or in the way of anything, and it does add so much security.